40,000 years ago, there was something called the cognitive revolution, where we departed from other human beings. There were 8 different types of human beings. We call ourselves Homo sapiens, which means the wise ones. We gave ourselves that name out of humility.
With a lot of humility, yeah.
But until 40,000 years ago, there were 8 types of humans. They all had basic language, which all organisms have. And the language is for mating calls, danger calls, and food calls, because that's how we survive. But we walked out of Africa on 2 legs, became the upright thinkers. We started speaking in stories. We created language like money, Wall Street, nation states, empires. And then something very interesting happened. We discovered fire. That was a technology. Had we not discovered fire, there wouldn't be the steam engine. There wasn't the steam engine, there wouldn't be the industrial age. Between 1886 and 1903, less than 20 years, we had the emergence of the light bulb, the automobile, aviation, and the telephone. So if you had disappeared in a remote island, 1885, and you showed up in 1905, the world was different. The internet is only since 1990s. The mobile phone is since the year 2007. AI is 2012, not even 12 years. So what we are, as a species, we are storytellers. We create models, language models, and we are technologists since 2 million years, 2.6 million years. Technology is part of our evolution. If you don't embrace it, you're extinct according to Darwinian principles. So either you adapt and use it, or you can misuse it. I mean, the technology is now being misused. We have drones to kill people, we have cyber warfare, we have nuclear weapons. But the same technologies can, I believe, create a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier, and joyful world. And I've been thinking about this. You know, what's the greatest technology in the world? Is the universe. And it comes from
Nature.
It comes from a domain of awareness which is infinite. And basically it uses zeros and ones. So, you know, my formula now for civilization is 0 is equal to 1 is equal to infinity. If you can capture that formula, the next 20 years will be bigger than 1886 to 1903, because we are leapfrogging not only as a cultural species, as a social species, but as a biological species. You know, difference between us and primates at the level of DNA is not even 1%. But primates don't go to the stars or explore intergalactic space. If you can hang in there with experts like this on health and longevity for the next 20 years, the world that you will see, even the great rishis who authored the Mahabharata and Ramayana and, you know, what's his name, Homer, who created Iliad and Odyssey, you will see a world even they never dreamed of. Be prepared for a transition as big from human to metahuman as it was from primates to Homo sapiens.
When you say metahumans, do you mean uh, humanoids, or what do you mean by metahuman?
Well, you know, extending our capacities for cognition and perception. And, you know, we spoke in, Patanjali speaks about remote hearing, the siddhis. Well, you're doing them now when you FaceTime and Zoom. That's remote hearing and remote. And as soon as we now move from AI to ambient computing, from ambient computing to VR, from VR to XR, from XR to MR, from that to blockchain, and from that to the metaverse, which will extend our range of experience in a way that is beyond imagination. It's literally beyond imagination. It's like the primate trying to figure out intergalactic space.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can't stop it. But also, I believe now very firmly that narrative language is how we started. Then we created biological language, physics, mathematics. now digital language. You're talking about digital money, you're talking about digital currencies, you're talking about digital humans. There's nothing in your body that cannot be mathematically mapped digitally.
Correct. That's true. Deepak, your children often talk about how you used to do meditation with them when they were kids. And, probably they roll their eyes, whatever it is, but now they're practitioners. And so, what are some of the things we should do? I mean, on a day-to-day basis, there's a lot of technology in right now compared to 30, 40 years ago. There's a lot more now. Maybe it'll help us even more to be more conscious. So, tell me a little bit of your thoughts on, as we are raising our children who are really digital natives, how can we integrate that capability into raising them to be, I don't know, better citizens? Actually, if we leave them alone, they'll be better citizens than us, probably. But um, what are your thoughts on raising the next generation?
I think we owe them an apology, our
Yeah.
children, and we owe our grandchildren a bigger apology because with technology, which, as I said, it's part of human evolution, we are on the brink of sleepwalking to extinction. And I mean this very seriously. And just look at the world situation. War is the biggest industry, mechanized death, medieval mines and nuclear weapons and cyber warfare and drones, the biggest industry in the world, war. And this has been going on since hunter gatherer times. But medieval minds and modern capacities spell extinction. That's one. Two is climate change. We know the solution, but we're not going there. We go to Davos to talk about it in private planes.
Yeah.
Okay? So climate change is the second. The third is social, economic, gender injustice. Still, notwithstanding, we have conferences on women empowerment at all, but it's not happening in the way it should.
Correct.
So, social economic injustice. Fourth is chronic disease, 95% of which is epigenetically modifiable. Only 5% is actually fully genetically determined through what are called fully penetrant genes. Even for that, now we have gene editing coming. And if you look at the last 10 years, you have gene editing, you have a messenger RNA, you have the discovery of the microbiome, you have epigenetics, you have neuroplasticity. And we know that actually disease, chronic disease can become optional if we understand the modern capacities for reversing, preventing disease and extending health span. And then total absence of joy. I mean, everybody's on a computer and they have no idea that there's a world that, our previous speaker resurrected in Rajasthan.
Yeah.
What a beautiful video that we saw. That's the world that we came from. And now we've created a world which is sleepwalking to extinction. So that's one story. And the other story is, we have access to the source of all existence, whatever you call it. You call it God, Brahman, Allah, Ein Sof, or a digital workshop outside of space-time with both quantum computing and regular computing, which is the mechanics of creation. The other road leads to an awakening and a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier, and joyful world. Technology can get us there, but we have to be aware that this is a very critical moment. One road leads to sleepwalking to extinction, the other to a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier, and joyful world. There are solutions for climate change. There are solutions for chronic disease. There are solutions for creating peace and prosperity. Who benefits from war? Who benefits? Only the war industry and a few global leaders who are basically gundas. So we at this moment, I think, need a critical mass of people who, in the words of Mahatma Gandhi, want to be the change they want to see in the world. And it's possible. But that critical mass of consciousness can come with a new story. And that story means people like experts like him in the field of medical sciences and technology, but it needs storytellers. The science of emergence says if you have shared vision, maximum diversity, complement everybody's strength, and create a spiritual global community, even digitally, you can actually change the world.